In the morning when I rise, in the morning when I rise, in the morning when I rise, give me Jesus, give me Jesus, give me Jesus. You can have this whole world, give me Jesus. The microphone on this webcam is terrible, so I'm going to spare you from any more singing. Plus, I got a stuffy nose, so you probably don't want to hear me sing anyway. Let me light these candles right here and I'll get started. And I'm only lighting these for ambiance, not for y'all. I don't think it'll look good on your end, but on my end, it's nice and orange. It's got a nice comfort, warm orange glow. This is all in one roll. I wish I could have deleted that last clip because, oh well. Today we're going to read out of John, First John. When I was born again last year, August 2nd to 2020, um, basically everything that went in my mind was First John. Um, First John, the letter that John wrote to, I guess, a church, maybe Ephesus. I'm not sure, but I've never read the Bible before becoming born again. In fact, I learned the gospel from Jesus himself, but that's a whole other story. Um, but the things that went through my mind were basically what is written here in First John. So let's begin reading, and let's see here. Okay. Satan doesn't want me to make this video. If if you've ever made a religious video about the Son of God, he's not gonna like it. But I'm gonna read out of First John. I'm not gonna read the whole thing because that's 40 minutes out of your busy day, and you probably don't want to hear this little kid ramble on for 40 minutes. But I'm gonna read the big points that the Spirit really showed me that morning. Um, the important points that He made aware to me the morning I was born again. So let me begin reading. I'm in First John, chapter 2, verse 15. Do not love the world or the things in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For everything in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride in one's possessions, is not from God, but is from the world. And the world with its lust is passing away, but the one who does the will of God remains forever. Okay, I choked through that one, but I finally read it. So there's some really scary news. The world you're living in, newsflash, it's run by Satan, the king of evil, the king of all evil and bad, the king of darkness, prince of darkness. And that really shouldn't shock you when you look around this world and see its, wars and corruption and, you know, degeneracy. Oh my gosh, especially in these last days. Uh, yeah, even nature is crazy. You watching a beautiful deer out in the wild, and a tiger comes and pounces it and rips his guts out. This world is run by Satan, and Jesus himself said that Satan is the god of this world. So tell your pastor with the mohawk and the fog machines and laser show that he should probably quit acting like the world, because if the world is run by Satan, I don't know why we bend over backwards to pretend to be just like the world. Not a good move if you want to be a disciple of Jesus Christ. Um, so I guess I'm just gonna really get right down to the meat of it, because Um, Basically, this world that you're living in right now is barely real. This is all delusion. All of it is Satan's way of tricking you into loving this world and hating God, whether it's pleasure or wants or gifts or goodies or a can of Coke or even the pains and the fears of this world. All of it is all delusion to keep your mind off of God. He wants you to love the world, meaning love Satan. Satan wants you to love him and hate God. So, and when you're born again, this is really made clear to you. You once you're born again, you lose citizenship of this world. And obviously, John was born again with the Spirit, and he is telling the church that he is writing to. Really, all of us are the church, but I guess he wrote to the church of Ephesus. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just my guess. Um, he's writing them to warn them about the things of this world and the bribes from Satan that only do bad. They only keep us on this world. They only keep us delusional, and they keep us hating God. Jesus said you can't have two masters. It's either the world, it's either Satan or me. This world is a test. It's a dream. And basically, the test is who are you going to choose? The world or God? Satan or Christ? Who are you going to choose? And sadly, because of these delusions here in the world, a lot of people fail the test. But luckily, people get sick of these delusions and uh, all these promises, all these bribes that Satan gives, money, sex, drugs, health, even good health, all of it doesn't truly make you happy. And a lot of people figure this out and they pass the test. They go, "Oh, I want to be with Jesus. I want to be with this guy because this world ain't gonna last too long. I'd rather be, I'd rather put my stock in eternity and not my stock in a world that's passing away, as the scripture says, because that's exactly what's happening. This world is not gonna exist so long. Actually, it's not gonna exist. It's gonna end in like a second. Notice how fast your life went by. Notice how fast everything went by. Just yesterday, I was a little kid on the floor playing with my Star Wars action figures, and now I'm 21, uh, filming a sermon. So, yeah, and it went by like that. The days are long, the days are eternal, but the years are short because this world is a dream. This world is vapor. So now that you know that this world is a vapor, now that you know this world is just a stage, just a trick, just a dream, uh, who are you gonna choose? And the famous question is, what is the meaning of life? And of course, the meaning of life is to go back to God because He wants you back. We've been separated with God since the fall in the garden, which actually happened. It's not myth, it's not legend. I found that out the morning I was born again. None of the stories in the Bible are legend. All of it's true. And the world, Satan, he's going to do whatever he can to keep us from believing anything from God, anything. In fact, it gets to the dangerous territory of rejecting His Spirit, blaspheming the Holy Spirit, which is the one sin that's not forgiven. Because okay, let's say God finally shows Himself, whether through an angel or through Jesus or big giant supernatural sign to someone who's hard-hearted, an atheist. Sadly, in this generation, that person's going to go, "Oh, I was just imagining things. That's not real," and reject God. And at that point, what else can God do? He's kind of stumped there. There's nothing else that God can do. You can't change your will. He gave you free will for this reason, to see if you can pass this test. I guess he's kind of weeding us out to see who truly loves him, who can truly love something that they cannot see or hear. And once you find out, once you put your faith in something that you can't see or hear, you end up hearing that God. You end up hearing God. You end up seeing God. Um, and if you want to hear or see God, you have to have a receptive heart. You cannot act like the world and say, "Oh, there's just a chemical imbalance in my brain," and "Oh, that was just a hallucination," or "Oh, that's just myth or man-made." It's not. This book right here is not man-made. I can tell you that right now. This book took 6,000 years to write. Uh, it's it it's not written like any human would write it. It's got prophecies that happened in secular history. They were fulfilled in secular history. Prophecies of a Messiah, Jesus, that was fulfilled, and then prophecies to come, the end of human history. Uh, and if already some of these prophecies were fulfilled, we better listen to the ones that haven't been fulfilled yet, because they're gonna happen at any minute. And this reality of God and all the things that He's going to do is going to happen. No one is exempt from God. Not even an atheist. Not even the rocks on the ground. No one is exempt from the end. No one. All right, I was rambling there a minute. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was I was reading the Bible. Let's skip over to chapter 4, verse 7, because this is really the main point of everything. Really, the one big command from God, the one big command from Jesus. And this is really the fruit of being born again. It's something you really can't help, and it's a really nice thing. Let's see what he says. Dear friends, let us love and Satan doesn't want me to make this. Dear friends, let us love one another, because love is from God, and everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. The one who does not love has not seen God, because God is love. So this was one of the biggest facts that I found out that day was if you want to know what God in his purest form is, almost tangible God, something you can feel, it is pure, genuine love. And that was shown to the world through Jesus. Newsflash, because he died for us. He died for people he didn't even meet yet. He didn't meet me. He died for me, and he didn't meet me till last year. That's how much he loves us. Although there's something about that experience that I might have to get into later. But okay, the main point is God created everything and everybody and every soul, and in God's eyes, every soul, everybody you see, doesn't matter how bad or good they are, it doesn't matter. Everybody in God's eyes is a little baby, little child, and He loves them to death. He loves them literally to death. Christ. He loves them to death. And all He wants is for them to love Him back. That's, that's really it. That's all He wants. And when you're born again and you get to see the world through Jesus's eyes, because his spirit, when you're born again, his spirit enters you. It's not a saying. Being born again is not just a saying. It's a real thing that happens to, sadly, not a lot of Christians over here in America, as you can see, the fruits of America. This really is not a Christian nation when you look around. But it's happening a lot over in Muslim countries. People are having dreams just like I did, and they're being born again and probably killed a couple weeks later. But that's really a blessing, is dying for Christ. The one thing you can't do in heaven is die for Christ. But when you see the world through Jesus's eyes, all your pet peeves, they just completely disappear, and you see everybody. It doesn't matter how bad, the worst felon, murderer, criminal, pedophile, worst of the worst in jail, it doesn't matter. To God, they're his creation, and they're his little children almost. I don't want to get into theology, you know what I mean. He looks at us like babies, it doesn't matter who. And when you see the world through Jesus's eyes, you see everybody as little children also. And you can't help but love your neighbor. You really can't help it. Doesn't matter who it is. And you're given a huge amount of patience because of this. And you can't love God and hate your neighbor at the same time. It's not possible. Oil and water. And you can't truly genuinely love your neighbor in the supernatural sense that I'm trying to explain here without God. Let me break this up. So my message to the disciples of Christ that are out there, just genuinely love every living creature that you see, and you will do well. If you're not born again, pray to be born again, because it will happen, especially in these last days. Um, uh, God is acting a lot quicker than he usually does, and he's picking up his sheep pretty quick. He's gathering us. So if you're not born again, show God that you want to be born again. You got to clean yourself. You got to fast from the world. Show God that you're willing, and he'll immediately give you his spirit. You just kind of show you. I've heard the analogy, when you go in the kitchen and you want water, you find a glass that's clean, not dirty. So be a clean glass. Be close to God. You find a glass that's close to you, not one that's in your neighbor's house. And then you rinse it up and fill it up with water. And that filling is the Spirit of Jesus, the Spirit of God. But you truly have to believe, and you truly have to want this for it to happen. And to the secular world, all this just sounds crazy. But it's real. Jesus is real. Jesus is alive, and he's coming back at any second. And he promised that he would take his disciples off this earth before the hour of tribulation, and that's happening at any second. I don't know when, but he will receive and take us all, because we're not appointed to God's wrath. When you're born again, you're seen righteous in God's eyes. It's your faith that makes you righteous, not your works. It's your faith and love that makes you righteous in God's eyes. Because God knows that we can't make it. God knows, Jesus knows, we cannot do this. We cannot be pure and holy on this earth. We cannot do it. When you have the Spirit of Christ, you go through a process called sanctification, which I didn't know all this Christianese. I didn't know all this vocabulary after I was born again. I would just tell everybody, I'm not sinning, which is not possible. Just existing, you're basically sinning. And for some people, sanctification takes a lot longer, and that's okay. Just keep getting up every time you fall. Just get back up, rebuke Satan. Remember this, when you open doors for demons and Satan, they will use you. So when you're watching dirty stuff or serial killer documentaries or what have you, you're opening doors, drinking alcohol. You're opening doors for evil, for demons, for Satan, and he will use you. When you obey God, he will attack you because then you're an enemy of Satan, which is a very good thing to be. It's a good thing to be an enemy of Satan. And when you flee from temptation, when you flee from Satan, or when you flee from temptation, Satan will flee from you. Uh, so that's a pro tip. And this video is getting way too long anyway, so I'm going to end it on this. Love God with all your soul. Tell him over and over again how much you love him. Pray without ceasing. And never exempt anybody. It doesn't matter who. It does not matter who. Never exempt anybody from love. Because when you're not showing anybody love, you're exempting the world from God. And that is the greatest sin, which is punishable by if you're not representing God accordingly, if you're showing the world hatred, which is not God, if you're showing the world evil, uh, God will he'll whip you. If you do that to the grave, you're in trouble. So don't take the mark during those days. Do not take the mark. Die in Jesus' name, and you'll be fine. So love your neighbor, love God, and God bless you who's watching this. And pray as you go to sleep tonight. Pray as you're drifting to sleep, and uh, he'll say something to you. He'll talk to you. All right, I love you.